An authentic Bolognese takes time. Ground beef, pork, and veal simmer for hours with broth, wine, and a little tomato to create a sauce that is well worth the wait. Well, we're not going to wait today, and Julia's here, so we're going to show you a much quicker version that's still rich and full of flavor.
You got it. And it all starts with meat. Imagine that.
How about that?
So a lot of traditional Bolognese use a lot of different kind of meat, like you said, pork, veal, sometimes beef. For a weeknight Bolognese, we want to keep it easy, so we're just sticking with the beef. So here we have a pound of ground beef. If you use 85% lean beef, which we like for most things, it made this sauce a little greasy. So believe it or not, this is 93% ground beef.
93?
I know, we found a use for it.
Yes, yes.
Another trick we're going to have is to add a little baking soda. It helps keep the moisture in and helps it brown a bit more quickly because it raises the pH.
Right.
So here I have 2 tablespoons of water, and this is a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. You want to make sure that dissolves. And we're just going to drizzle over the meat. And then, of course, we're going to season the meat. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. I'm just going to use my favorite utensils, my hands. I'm just going to mix it right in. You don't want clumps of pepper in there. All right, so that's good for the meat for now. I'm going to need to go wash my hands, and I'll be right back.
All right.
We really only wanted to use 1 meat, but we found we needed a little extra boost from a little pork. Now this is pancetta, and the reason why we like pancetta is you can buy it in very small amounts. This is only 6 ounces, and what we're going to do is we're going to grind it up in the food processor into very fine bits, almost like ground beef.
And we also like pancetta because it's pancetta.
So I'm going to pulse this for about 15 to 20 pulses till it's nicely ground. All right, so that's 20 pulses, no big chunks left. And now it's time to add a few more ingredients. Now we're adding a little onion, carrot, and celery, otherwise known as mirepoix. And these are classic ingredients in a Bolognese. And to make them dissolve into the sauce seamlessly, we're going to add them to the food processor. So about 15 pulses, it's going to form a nice fine paste. All right, now it is time to get cooking.
All right.
And here I have a nice big pot ready to go. I'm going to start with 2 kinds of fat. This is a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and to this I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter, because why not? But actually butter browns pretty fast, so if you use butter alone, it will get much too dark. You can temper that browning by mixing in a little bit of oil.
I like that.
Over medium-high heat, we're just going to let this butter melt before we add our processed mixture. All right, so that butter is melted and the foaming is starting to subside. Perfect time to add our processed pancetta and vegetable mixture. And notice, a lot of recipes start with browning beef to add flavor. We're not going to brown the beef. We're going to brown this mixture to develop some fond and some serious flavor, but that takes time. So first we got to drive off all that moisture. That takes about 8 minutes, and then we're going to let it cook and develop some good browning. I'm also going to add just a 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper.
It's all smelling so good.
I know, right?
So pancetta is the heavy hitter here. It's got lots of flavor, and it's cured belly fat from the pig, similar to American bacon. But unlike American bacon, which is smoked, pancetta is not smoked. So you do not want to substitute regular American bacon for your pancetta, or you'll get a smoky Bolognese.
So this is going to cook for about 8 minutes, and I have one more trick up my sleeve. Here I have 4 cups of beef broth. We're going to use this as the liquid for our Bolognese. I'm going to put it in a pot, and I'm going to bring it to a simmer, and I'm going to reduce it by about half to really intensify its flavor. That'll take about 15 minutes. Meanwhile, this is going to cook away, and all that moisture is going to evaporate. That'll take about 8 minutes.
Oh, smells so good already.
Doesn't it? All right, so this has been cooking for about 8 minutes, and all that moisture has been driven out of those vegetables, and it's time to get browning. So what I'm going to do is just spread this evenly over the bottom of the pot. It's going to take about 10 minutes for this to get nice and brown and to make a nice fond on the bottom of that pot. And every couple of minutes, you want to go in there and stir it around so that everyone gets equal access to the bottom of the pot, because that's where the browning happens. All right, so this has been cooking, and I've been stirring for about 10 minutes. What a difference 10 minutes makes.
A lot of browning, fond on the bottom, that means flavor.
Next up, 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. And we're going to let that cook for about a minute or 2, let it deepen in flavor. Next, we're just going to reduce this heat to medium and add the beef. And I'm going to cook and stir at the same time, breaking up that meat into smaller pieces. And this stuff will take about 5 minutes.
That is very quick for browning meat.
Sure is. All right, so this beef has been cooking for about 5 minutes. It's no longer pink.
And we're done.
If only that were true. Actually, not much farther to go. And I'm using a wooden spoon to really scrape up any of that flavorful fond, because that fond is serious flavor. In goes our next ingredient. And this is a cup of red wine. And we're going to cook it for 5 minutes, really reduce it down and intensify its flavor.
How generous of you to save a cup for the recipe.
I know, right? I feel the same way. All right, so we're gonna cook this down for another 5 minutes before we move on.
Sounds great.
So that wine has reduced down and the sauce has thickened a little bit. Time for the last step, and that's to add our reduced beef broth. So remember, this started with 4 cups. We reduced it down by half, so it's 2 cups. Last but not least, our super secret ingredient, Parmigiano. So this is half a cup of finely grated Parmesan. Now, this is our dairy component, and also it helps really boost that meaty flavor quickly. So a lot of Bolognese start with milk, and they reduce that milk down for that dairy flavor. But we're not adding the milk, because for us, it dulled the flavors that were so hard to try to build up. But the Parmesan adds a little of both, a little dairy and a lot of flavor.
I was going to say, we're adding milk in the form of cheese.
Exactly. We're just going to bring this up to a simmer. Oh, and it smells so good. Oh, hello. All right, here's the lid. We're gonna turn it down to low, and we're gonna let this cook and simmer away for about 30 minutes.
Massive, massive reduction in time there. 30 minutes, that's it.
This is the pot we reduced the broth in. I've rinsed it out, filled it with pasta water, and now I'm putting it on to bring it up to a boil so we can cook our pasta. All right, so it has been 30 minutes that this guy's been simmering.
Oh, gentle, gentle
Right.
wafting of that aroma.
It smells amazing, but it looks really watery, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, you're thinking that's not pasta
It's
sauce.
soup.
Yes, this very loose consistency is perfect because we're gonna serve it over traditional tagliatelle. And you can see this is an egg noodle, it's very wide, and it has a rough surface.
Yes.
And when you cook this up, it absorbs a lot of moisture. So if you start off with a dry sauce, it's gonna be non-existent once you add the pasta. So starting with a watery sauce is perfect. I've turned off the heat, I'm gonna put the lid back on, let her sit there for a minute. Here we have our boiling water for pasta. Again, a gallon of water, tablespoon of table salt. And in go our tagliatelle. These are always sold in these cute little nests. And if you can't find these at the store, don't substitute the egg noodles that you would normally use in chicken noodle soup. Instead, use a pappardelle. We'll bring it back to a boil, and we're gonna cook them till a very al dente. We're actually gonna let them finish in the sauce, absorb that sauce flavor, and again, that will help thicken the sauce up.
Always a great idea.
All right, so these noodles are perfectly cooked. They're just al dente, so it's time to reserve some of that cooking water.
At least a half a cup, maybe up to a cup. Always a good idea. And I shall go drain for you.
Thank you. I'm just gonna toss the pasta with the sauce very gently. You don't wanna break up any of those long noodles. Tossing these noodles with the sauce, they're like little sponges. They just suck it all right up. Oh, looks delicious.
My belly's like a little sponge as well, you know.
Let me portion some into a bowl for us. Mmm. Little Parmesan top?
Please.
Because why not? That meat is so tender.
So tender, so rich, and really, really big flavor coming out of this. But 30 minutes?
I know.
Crazy.
The beef is just meltingly tender.
Velvety.
Yeah, thanks to the baking soda.
This is one of those dishes, if you don't see it, you wouldn't believe it.
That's right.
Right? But 30 minutes, perfect bolognese. Thanks, Julia. To make our faster bolognese, toss ground beef with water and baking soda to keep the beef nice and tender. Build flavor by reducing beef broth and browning pancetta. Cook the beef, then simmer first with wine, then broth and Parmesan. Toss with tagliatelle, and there you have it. From America's Test Kitchen to your kitchen, a short on time but big on flavor. Weeknight tagliatelle with bolognese sauce.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.